enter the URL. Let me enter some URL. Say www. So we have to enter complete http colon two slashes www dot, say, let me use this one only, facebook.com. Enter. See. So these many anchor tags we are getting in that particular web page, that is facebook.com. Okay, let me uh, let me execute it once again. Execute it once again and give some other. Okay, http colon two slashes www dot a dot ac dot. So these many hyperlinks are available. These are the hyperlink means wherever we'll be having that starting with HTTP and all those things. Okay, so all those will be retrieved there. Okay, so any doubts, guys? Any doubts? This is the program. You have to import three libraries. One is urllib.request, another one is beautiful soup, and another one is SSL, secure socket layer. Then to have the context that there will not be any certificate errors, you need to include three lines here: SSL.create default context, then check host name, then CTX dot verify mode. These three lines. Then you are you are opening that website, then you are parsing the HTML files, then you are retrieving all the anchor tags and displaying them on the screen. Okay, fine. So this is one of the sample output he has given here, the same which you have taken. If you use this particular website, this one, you will get only this particular output. So another part of the same program, another version of the same program. Let me directly take to this idle only. Okay, this program. So what we are doing here is we are fetching tag, URL, content, and attributes. All these we are extracting from the particular website. Your page you will get from that page. We are extracting tag, attributes, URL, and contents. Okay. As I said, the first three packages, first three modules are URL import request. In that we are importing URL open. Okay, URL open. See what is the difference is, in the previous program how we have done is we have just imported URL lib.request. Then we have used the URL open function. Can you see the difference? Here we have imported from URL lib.request, we have imported URL open. Then how we have used the URL open function, see here directly. But in the previous program, we have just imported url_request. Then how we have used the URL open function, like this: url_request.url open. Clear? So that is the difference between importing direct module. So we are importing direct module URL open. That is why we have not used url_request.url open here. Fine. And these three lines you are aware of that we are using this for to not get any certification errors and to create a default context for the secure socket layer. Same here also we are asking the user to enter a website name. That URL, whatever URL is entered will be open here in the read mode. Then Toop will parse the HTML file. Then it will extract all the anchor tags from the HTML file, and this one will display all the details of that particular anchor tag. And means that hyperlink. Okay, whatever what it will display: tag, URL, contents, and attributes. Okay. Okay, I will use this only as input. I will execute this particular file here, run this module, save it. Okay, it is asking me to enter the URL, so I have entered this URL. So when I press enter, it displays all the details. This particular website, drcheck.com page1.htm, has only one anchor tag, that is HREF http www.drcheck.com page2.htm. So it has only one website web page. Okay. So details of that, the tag is this one. Okay, its name is second page. Then URL is what? Its URL is what? It's this one. This is URL from here to here, page2.htm, that is displayed. Then contents of that is second page. Contents of that particular tag is second page, and attributes are what? HREF. HREF is only one attribute here. Okay, for the anchor tag, HREF is only one attribute that is displayed here. HREF http www. We don't have any other attribute for the anchor tag here. Only we have HREF that is displayed. Okay, clear? Clear with this program? At least one say yes or no. ಹಚ್ಚಿಟ್ಟು ಮಕ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸ್ನೇಹ ಸ್ನೇಹ ಗೌಳಿ स्नेहा गौड़ी out of order. Christy Waghe.
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bhavna. Bhavna left. Lakshmi. Lakshmi. Sleeping. Anusha.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anusha.
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sneha Naik.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting? Neha Gaudi.
Yes, sir.
Neha Gaudi. Fine. Okay, let us move to the next part here. So that was about how to use this, how to extract each and every information of the particular tag. Okay, this is the sample output which you have seen. So that is the end of one of the chapter of the fifth module. Okay, that is the end of the networked programs chapter. So next chapter is using web services. Okay, I will just take 15 or 20 more minutes how web services will be used. So first we will have the introduction. So there are many common formats, two common formats that are used while exchanging data across the web. One is HTML and another one is XML. Okay, you have heard about these two, HTML and XML. HTML is hypertext markup language and XML is extensible markup language. These are the two common formats when we are exchanging the data through the web. So in previous section, whatever we have seen, we have used all the forms of HTML only, not XML. All of them were HTML. We have parsed only HTML files, not XML files. So now we'll discuss parsing of the XML files. Okay. So many web pages are designed using XML also. So XML is a best suited for exchanging the document style of data in the websites. So now we'll see that. So when programs just want to exchange dictionaries, lists, or other internal information with each other, they use JSON. This is another format. Okay, JSON is another format. We will also look at this. Along with XML, we'll also look at JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. So using this notation, how to scrape the web, that we will see. Okay, first we'll have a look on extensible markup language. We have not at all heard or seen about this. So XML is similar to HTML, but it is more structured than HTML. Okay, and it provides us to use our own defined tags. Tags are not fixed here. We can define our own tags. So one of the sample XML document is here. So person is one of the tag which is user defined. Inside that name tag is there. So name is checked. Okay, name tag ends here. Then phone tag, we are using phone tag. Phone type equals to int1. Okay, type of the data int1. Then this is the phone number and phone tag ends here. Email hide equals to yes. Email tag we are using, but we are not using. We are using here, but it is not displayed. It is not visible. Okay, hide equals to yes. Then person tag ends here. So this is how we can write XML files. Okay, this is how we can write the XML files. These are all own defined. Person tag is not available in tag library. This is defined by the user. Okay, we can create our own tags, but it must have the structure. Okay, as we go through different examples, we may come to know. This is how extensible markup language looks. Now we have to parse these extensible markup languages in the websites. See, this is how this figure shows how the structured extensible markup language looks like. The person is the main tag here. Under that, we had name tag, phone tag, and email tag. Okay, name tag, name was here, check. Phone number was this one, and the type of the phone was int1, and email was there, and its attribute hide is yes. Okay, we have hidden this. Okay, then we will see how to parse the XML. So Python provides a library called as xml.e3.elementary to parse the data from XML files. Okay, you need to remember this. xml.e3.elementary. Okay, so this is one of the library which is available in Python to parse the XML files. So one has to provide this XML code as a string to built-in method for from string of elementary class. So from string is one of the method of elementary class. So we have to provide all the XML code to this particular method, from string method. We'll see in the example. Elementary acts as a parser and provides a set of relevant methods to extract the data. Hence, the programmer need not know the rules and the format of XML document syntax because, as I said previously, there is not a particular tags available. There are no particular tags available, so we need not to worry about the document syntax. Okay. Then from string method will convert XML code into a tree structure of XML nodes, as we have seen in this particular figure. In this format, all the codes will be converted in the form of tree. When the XML is in a tree format, Python provides several methods to extract data from XML. Okay, so we have one example here. We have one example. Directly I will show it in the this one. Parsing XML. Output is the same one. Okay, and the same one. Okay, this is the one of the program. One example we have taken here. How to parse the XML programs. Import xml.e3.elementary.as et. As I said, this is one of the library available to parse the XML files. We are taking it as ET. Why? Because to use all functions of xml.e3.elementary, each time I have to write it completely. Okay. To to not use it completely or to short it, I am using it as ET. So whenever you want to use the functions of this library, you can just specify ET instead of complete. Okay. So here XML code is embedded in string format. So this is our XML code from here to here. This is our XML code. It is embedded inside this program in string format. So what you see is three the dots here, three, what do you say, commas, apostrophes. You have to use it like this. Whenever you are embedding the data inside the Python program, you have to use like this. So in machine learning programs, many times you use it. Okay, we are embedding this data, this particular data inside Python program. So when you are embedding three apostrophes, you have to use here and here. Okay, so this part is same as we have seen previously. Fine. Next, we are taking a variable tree equals to et dot from string data. So as I said, we have to provide the XML data to the from string method of xml.e3.elementary. Okay, so that is what we have done here. So XML data is embedded inside the variable data. So that we are providing to from string method. Then print attribute for tag email, then attribute for tag phone. Okay, attribute for tag email is tree dot find email dot get hide. Okay, this will find email. This will find the email from the tree. Okay, and dot get hide means if it is hidden or if it is visible. Then it is for email and this is for phone. Yeah, tree dot find phone from the tree, get its type. Okay, how it will give you the output. Okay, see, attribute for tag email. Yes, is there any attribute for email? Is there any tag called as email, and whether it is hidden or not? It is yes, there is a email tag available inside our XML file and it is hidden. Yes. Got it? You can see this line, tree dot find email. Find the email and get the attribute of hide. What is the value of hide here? Yes, that is the output. Hide as whatever S is there, this will be the output. Similarly for this what? Tree dot find phone. Find phone this one. Find phone tag and get its type. What is its type? Int one. That is the output. You can see here. That is the output here. Int one. Got it now? At least one say yes or no. Only five are there. Okay. Anyhow, I will continue. Okay. So that is how you can parse the XML files in the Python. Okay. So the details of the above program is prompt string is used to convert XML code into tree type. Prompt string data we have provided, so that is converted to a tree structure. Then find method searches XML tree and retrieves the node that matches the specified tag. So what we have done here in the previous, what we are doing here, tree dot find email. In the tree, it will find email. If it is available, it will get the what do you say, attribute value of this hide. Okay. Similarly, for another one, get method retrieves the value associated with the specified attribute of that tag. So each node can have some text, some attributes like hide, and some child nodes. Each node can be parent for a tree of nodes. Obviously, there whenever there will be a tree, for every child there will be a parent. Okay, next looping through nodes. If it is not visible, okay, hope it is visible now. Most of the times, XML documents are hierarchical. Okay, hierarchical means one after the other, and they contain multiple nodes. To process all the nodes, we need to loop through all the nodes. Okay, so consider this example now. Import xml.e3 elementary as et input. So as I said previously, we have used the data. Now we are using the input here to embed the XML into our Python program. See, in this particular XML file, we have different tags here. Stuff is one, users, user, all this, and there are multiple nodes. You can say these are multiple nodes now. Stuff is one node, users is another node, user is another node, like this. Okay. So inside stuff you have users node, then inside that user is another node. So its attribute x is there, value is 2. Okay. Again, there are two more tags are there, ID and name in user tag. Okay, like this, the code is there. When it is converted to tree structure, the root node will be stuff. For that root node, users is another sub tree for stuff. For users, user is a child node. For user, ID and name are the child nodes. Like this, a tree structure will be created. Then we are providing this data, this input data to prompt string method, which will convert this XML into a tree structure. Okay, will be converted into a tree structure and tree is stored in stuff. Okay, then we are using ls as one variable, stuff dot find all users slash user. So what this function does is it will find all the tags or all the nodes which are having the name users or user. Then it will print the count of this LST. User count equals to length of LST. Then it will print the name ID attribute of, it will print the name ID and attribute of each node. Okay. So Inside this we have name and ID. Okay. Let me execute this. We will come to know. Fine. So this is the same program. Let me run this. See, this is how the output. So user count is 2. So here user count will be displayed initially. User count is 2 because there are 2 counts. 2 users are there. Okay. Name of user is check. His ID is 1. There are 2 attributes. Name of the second user is friend. His ID is 9 and attributes are 7. Okay. So like this the output will be displayed. Let me add one more attribute user.
ಇವತ್ತಂತೂ ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ ಒಂದ್ಕಡೆ ಸಂತೋಷ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದ್ಕಡೆ ನನ್ನ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕಿರಣ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ಬಂದರು ನಿಮ್ದೇ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೈಲೈಟ್ ಅದಾವ ವೋಡಾಫೋನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ
See, now the user count is 3. Okay. It has displayed the name check. ID, its ID is 1. Name is check. Attributes. How many attributes are there? The name right. ID 007 009. Value of the attribute is 7. The user attribute X. We have there 2. Here we have 7. And sorry. ID value is 1 here, here 9, here 7. Okay. So attribute it has displayed none means what? X value we have not taken here. We have not taken any X value. So if I take any X value, say 8. Now run this module. So now attribute 8 is displayed. Okay. So this is how it will execute. Okay. Next is JSON, JavaScript object notation. It is another. Till now we have seen how to parse the XML. Now we will see how to parse the JSON files. Okay. So JSON format was inspired by object and array format used in the JavaScript language. Okay, you are not familiar with JavaScript. Okay, it is one of the scripting languages used in web pages. Okay, using that scripting language you can design the web pages and fetch the data available in the websites. Okay, but since Python was invented before JavaScript, Python syntax for dictionaries and lists influenced by syntax of JavaScript object notation. So format of JSON is combination of Python lists and dictionaries. Means syntax of JSON is includes lists and dictionaries. Okay, you can see one example here. This example, this is JSON data. It uses the curly braces. Name equals to check. Phone, its type. See how it is there. Dictionary we are using here. It is a dictionary. Okay, name equals to check. Phone, again it's a dictionary. Its type is int1. Number is here. And email is there. Hide. Its value is yes. So this particular code is similar to our XML code. This one, this is our XML code. Okay, so this we are writing in the form of lists and dictionaries. Clear? So difference between XML and JSON is what? We can add attributes like int1 to phone tag. In JSON, we simply have key value pairs. Okay. What the difference? In XML, we have to add the attributes like int1 to phone. In case of JSON, we just simply write in the form of key value pairs. Dictionaries like dictionaries. XML uses tag person, which is replaced by a set of outer curly braces in JSON. Here, there is no user tag here. Person or user tag. Person tag is not there here. Here, person tag is there. So this person tag is replaced with JSON. Sorry, the curly brace. Okay, so JSON structures are simpler than XML because have fewer capabilities than XML. But JSON has advantage that match directly to some combination of dictionaries and lists so that Python easily understand that particular structure. Since it matches the lists and dictionaries, Python easily understands it. And since nearly all programming languages have something equivalent to Python's dictionaries and lists, so it is very natural format to have two compatible programs exchange data. Okay, JSON is compatible with Python now because JSON uses lists and dictionaries. So now we'll see how to parse the JSON. Okay, same whatever was there in the previous program we have replaced with JSON. This is our JSON data. This is our JSON data. In the previous program it was XML. Now we are replacing it with JSON. One more difference is you have to import JSON here. You have to import JSON. Then here you can see info.json.loads data. Difference is what? When you were using the XML, we were using from string method to convert the XML to tree structure. Here we are using the loads function. Here we are using the load function to load all the data into our Python structure. Okay. Then print user count, it will print. Then whatever the information are there, it will print here name, ID and attribute. Okay. So let us try to execute. When you execute, you should get this particular output, that is user count, name, ID, attribute. Okay. Loads method converts the string into a list of dictionaries. Okay. Now onwards, we don't need anything from JSON because parsed data is available in Python native structures. Directly, it will take using for loop. You can directly. That is what we have done. We are using the for loop here. For item in info, print name, item, name here. Then print ID, item ID, print attribute, item X. Okay, ID, name, and X. What are these? These are the name of the attributes. ID, X, name. We can see here. Those are displayed directly. Let me try to execute this. I don't know whether JSON must be installed or it will be available in normal Python. Okay, I will use a new file. I'll, save it. Save it. Some name. JSON parse. On parse, run this module. Okay, end of line.
किती पाहिजे भाडं पण तुमची जागा वापरून भाडं द्यायला तयारच आहे हो आम्ही तयार आहे किती दिवसांना आम्ही वाट बघायला लागलोय काल नवरा पण फोन उचलले की म्हणतात पंचायतीत पाहिजे बा आमचं
Okay, we will get some errors since we have copied the program directly. So we have to format it first. Let me see. Okay, we got the output here, same output. So JSON does not need to be installed an extra module or extra package. Directly it is available in our normal Python. So when I run this program, I got this output. Fine. Hope you understood this program. Anybody can tell me understood or not this program? Understood this program? Fine. So that is the end for the day. That is the end for the day. We will discuss some more programs and some more things in the second chapter of the fifth module. Okay. So I think it is better that you should practice these programs in home. Okay. Need to remember all the functions used in different cases. Okay. So in the next class we will discuss some more programs. Thank you. Tomorrow again we'll meet.